All right, today we are doing a reaction to a law.com article from earlier this summer in July about how law firms are adding business leaders to their leadership teams. I'm super excited to hear about this because firms are adopting the idea of, hey, maybe not everybody is built to do operations, maybe they don't like it, and running it like a business in other industries can only bring good things. What's your initial reaction to this, Jen?
I'm excited about it too because it is what we know works. Having expertise, like if you're a legal expert in real estate, why would you bring in someone who doesn't know real estate to come and lead that piece? So this is the same thing in the business. Having people who know how to lead firms, lead the firm.
Definitely. And you and I have talked about it before, like when we're going through schooling for whether it's law school or something else, like becoming a CPA, or even graduate programs, they don't teach us how to run a business. You're learning, at the same time, you're learning how to provide the professional services. So sometimes people happen to excel at those things, and sometimes people don't, or they don't want to, and that's okay. So that is a really exciting aspect for me. And one thing I wanted to hear your take on is that I love how you said sometimes we are actually setting people up to fail when we're putting them into these positions in leadership. Well, can I hear some more about that?
Sure. You just touched on it a little bit too, is that we we are trained in our area where we are providing a service. We're not trained on how to run a firm. I don't know of a law school class on how to run a firm. I haven't, maybe there is one out there, but I don't think it's a typical class. And when we actually shift some of our best people as recognition with the best intent to give them that recognition, to give them a growth opportunity, and put them in a position that requires them to understand how to run a firm, we are setting them up to fail if we don't put in support and structure before they take that role on how to do this role well, and support and structure while they're in the role to continue to do what they need to do in this role. So it's great to have people grow, but it's not great to have people into a position where we're not giving them the support to grow. And that's what I often see is like, oh, you are great at this one thing and we'll put you into a leadership position. It doesn't translate that you can be amazing with your clients and know how to run a firm.
Yeah, absolutely 100% agree. Even if there are classes in law school, and yeah, I have seen continuing legal education classes on these topics like marketing, financial management, operations. Let's face it, CPAs, attorneys, people in professional services are so incredibly busy. Every minute counts. So it's hard to learn those tools and also become really great at those things,
Right.
especially if you're trying to fit someone into something that's not their unique skill area. So honestly, some people aren't great at managing and leading, and maybe they don't want to, and that's okay. So this is a great trend. And like the last aspect about it, something that was really intriguing to me is that even though this particular article is talking about a big law trend, I think it definitely does apply to mid-size and even smaller size firms that are moving towards that. What is your take on it, Jen?
I think that's the most critical time. The hardest in any business is really hit that $1 million mark. And then the next hardest is 5 million. The next hardest is 10 million. It's actually somewhat easier when you are running a larger firm because you've already bumped your head on the problems and trial and error your way through figuring out if you're already at that stage. But if you want to grow to that stage, why not shortcut and not have to hit your head so many times and have all of those mistakes that can be very costly by having someone who's been there, done that when it comes to how to run a firm. So, being able to bring in business minded professionals in whatever capacity you do, whether it's in actual roles or advisory or coaching, just having that additional support is going to get you ahead much farther to where you want to go, because you don't have to make mistakes to get there. You can learn from other people's proven processes.
Love the mention of proven processes. And the other aspect of the article where it's calling out CTOs, like chief technology officers, chief people officers, people who are experts in data privacy, data collection, AI. These are not traditionally people who have gone through law school. And even if they are, they might be really hard to find. So, finding people who are expertise who their expertise you can bring onto your leadership team can only bring good things. And at the same time, I see that firms are embracing people outside of the industry area, even if someone didn't come from the legal industry. You have a lot of people already who know what the legal industry is like. Certain things are teachable, but the aspect of expertise and technology especially, or people, like that is an area where it may be really hard to teach. And is that worthwhile? Reverse engineering that, I don't think so. Usually I have not seen that to work, so it'll be really interesting.
Absolutely. I think we see it too, whether it's accounting and then assuming that because you're great at audit or tax, you can go into running the finances of a firm, maybe a little bit, but you're also going to not have that ability to see it from an operational point of view if you're only seeing it from an accounting point of view. Whereas a more business minded professional can see that. The same with, like you're saying, technology, or the same with seeing the chief people officer. Just because you are great at employment law doesn't magically mean you know how to lead culture and help hire right and retain people and do performance management. All of these things are closely related. So I can see why it might make sense. Oh, yeah, you do this kind of specialty, it should translate, but there's absolutely something different from running it with your colleagues in your own firm versus providing your expertise to the client.
Definitely. And another piece of it, a question that I ask a lot of my professional service teams are, in the ideal world, what percentage of your time or billable hours do you want to spend on client work? Or what percentage of your time do you want to spend on operations or administrative work? And we could talk about it more in another time, but the administrative side, like there's a almost a negative connotation with spending time in that. And honestly, like if you have someone who wants to spend a bigger percentage of their time in that, that's fantastic. But at the end of the day, it's really good to know where people stand, and having it be okay if they don't want it to be a certain way.
Yeah, I think the key, and I love that you're saying this, is what do they want? What is their goal? What is their desire? And part of that want isn't just the expectation they should want it. Be careful about that, because if you've put a cultural um, encouragement around taking certain positions on the more administrative side or leadership side of the firm, they may say they want it because they're supposed to want it. But what is their desire for their own growth, their own professional development? There are people who do want to expand. You and I are one of them. Like we had the more traditional position and we wanted to, we're rare, but we wanted to go and understand how a business works and be a bit more on the entrepreneurial side of things. Not everyone is like that. So to really understand their growth goals for their own career will help you to see if they're the right people for these leadership business based positions.
Yep, having a great combination of both types of people is fantastic, and yeah, not everyone is as open to risk or open to entrepreneurial thought, and these are fantastic conversations to be having in a firm environment. So I will wrap this conversation here, and it sounds like we are both very excited to see where this trend goes.
Absolutely. And I'm grateful there are people like you, Tiffany, to help guide them through.
Likewise, likewise.